And it's Gordo here from Gordo's Games. I want to bring you some more Digimon TCG content today. So I'm not going to delve into it too much, we're just going to straight into it. We are with the deck profile, and it is my boy Gaiomon, who I recently went undefeated locals with, and has been performing rather well as of this set. I do feel it's quite anti-meta and things with cross hearts being so dominant and things rely on tamers quite a lot. So it's still seeing viability. But this is my take, and one of my teammates who I've been testing with closely just to try and get an idea of where we stand with it. So let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so we're gonna do that. First, I'll give you a little bit of light here. Yeah, that's not too much glare. Okay, we're gonna start for the eggs. So run 4 of this Gaiomon. 1k buff if you're a Greymon or an Agumon, so comes up more often than you'd think. Just being able to swing over things like Death Xmon, large bodies. There's things like Jesmon now, so as many DP buffs as you can come in clutch those. And then we run a 1 of the draw power. The only reason I don't go 4 of this and 1 of this is because I don't feel as if you need enough draw power because some of the other techs in this deck. So this ratio has been fine for me, and you do need 5x because your deck is quite a controlling deck, so you do play into it. Rookies, we run 12. They are the most simplest lineup. This is full on Greymon Tribal. 2k buff Agu. Reason being, it's the strongest Agumon you can go into. You always want to see this one in raising as you go even up your lines. 2k buff is massive. With the Gaiomon, there's 3k buff right there and then. Moving on from that, we have got the 4 Surge Agu on reveal and an Omnimon or a Greymon. This is just generally a good searcher. You pair it with the new Agumon X. The amount of search power you can do is ridiculous. Speaking of, we run 4 of the Agu X. Don't run any of the Agu purely because I don't like the idea of inconsistencies where I see it, and I'm going to got a red Greymon or something like that, and it's a gamble I don't want to take. This deck can break enough as is. I'd rather eliminate the criteria for that. So we do run 12 rookies there. Going into the level 4s, we run 2 Greymon security tech. This was my flex spot really. Was in previous sets it was just literally things like the 2k buff Greymon and then 1 of these. But I feel that with this set, with the fact there's a smaller security threats, when I say smaller security threats I mean DP wise, not options, they can still be a pain in the ass, but being able to go to that security in almost one fell swoop really puts in some work. It paid off me in locals the other night. I went through with all 5 security because I had the right setup, and then blitz for game. It was just as simple as that basically. We run 4 of the blocker. Blocker inherently it's massively needed in some matches. It stops that poke damage, so things like debrigate, things like cross hearts, all those sorts of things that just want to literally chip away at you time and time again. This just helps slow that down. It also gives you a black source, so if you don't get the metal grey yet go into the other red thing, just you've got that there available to you. But just be mindful, because I did catch myself out with it quite a few times, that you cannot evolve metal grey ex ante or Alterus on this. Completely lost my train of thought the other night, and it just kept happening. Generally because we just run 4 of this because we're always expecting to go this into this. So this should never be there realistically. That should always been a source underneath. But we run 4 of the ex ante. This card is this is the main reason you run the red space over the black mace, is that inherent protection is massive. It makes it so your deck can actually sustain being on board. You can survive Death X pops. You can just remove some of your sources. So I had it in a 3v3 the other day because we had a 3v3 event went to. I played out the Agu, went into the Agu X. This is all in one turn because they gave me like 7 memory. I've gone into the Greymon, gone into the Greymon X, gone into Metal Grey. Did all these sorts of things to clear out some of their rookie board so they couldn't actually get rid of me. Then they went ahead and there was a Death X on board, so all I did was strip out the 2 Argos underneath. I lost my DP buff, but it meant their main source removal, being Ultimate Flare, was dead constantly. They kept Ultimate Flaring me, it was taken down to my level 4 time and time again, or my level 5 because I just kept stripping out more and more sources. So we're in 10 level 4s. Level 5s, now excuse me because I haven't got the last 2 are on the way. It's sad to look at right now, but we run 4 of it. My last 2 are on the way to make this deck look extra pretty. If it counts, one's a pre-release, but you know, this card just looks amazing. Let's be real. So you run 4 of this. It's the main piece of the deck. This is the part that gives this deck so much control. Blackwargreymon is great for getting rid of tamers and that. It's the whole threat of having this underneath and just being able to swing over and unsuspended means that your opponent cannot just commit to a board unless they actually go out and outright remove my stack, which is hard to do because of the protection clauses. And in BT11 we get even more protection clauses, so happy days. We run 3 Metal Grey X Anti. Amazing card. It gives you 3k buff if you go on top of Metal Grey, and a security check. So if you get the 3k buff if you go on top of Metal Grey, you get the security check regardless. So it's always nice, even if you go into this, then into Gaio, you technically 1, 2, 3, 4 checks. If you have a tie, yeah, it's just it's good time all around basically. We run a one-off Ultras mode. Now, yeah, we'll leave that there. This can come up on occasions. I mean, I have considered just making this a 4-off just for consistency purposes, but sometimes the blown up of a level 5k body or lower can get rid of things like the memory blockers, so the memory boost can go off, or it's just added protection if you miss a step with a Greymon X Anti. So we run 8 level 5s there. Level 6 we run ideally 6. We run 3 of one of the MVPs of this deck. I can't see anyone is better than each other because they all play just different matchups massively. So for instance, this is Cross Hearts. This is your Cross Hearts beta. You know, you want to sit on this for as long as possible. You want to take out their ideal tamers. You want to sit there as a blocker that can double block. You just want to disrupt their board as much as possible. They can, you know, poke you. It's not an auto-win matchup by no means. I just want to get that point across. It's not by any means an auto-win. I don't think there's such a thing. But this makes it a lot stronger in your favour, just because of how much control you have to their board, popping their small bodies, swing over them, taking out the tamers. If they've only got the single tamer down, if you've just taken out 2 things on board and you know they've just saved under there, you'll get massive value just by taking out the tamer the following turn. We run 3 Gaiomon. Originally when I started testing this at the beginning, I was trying to try 4 and 2, because I was like, okay, Cross Hearts is here, I'm going to need more and more things that are going to let me just keep popping tamers. I was like, this is going to be fundamental. I agree it is, but this is just amazing in some matchups. It's just crucial. The D-Digivolve is a massive thing, and it's also the Blitz as well. Being able to aggress whilst D-Digivolving and just gives you a lot of momentum. And that additional built-in reboot security attack +1 means you've got a safe body. So even if you swing with this, restand, go into the Gaiomon, you know, you've got the reboot and blocker. Yeah, you don't have the double block that Blackwargreymon would have, but you've potentially interrupted part of their most ideal stack, and you've taken out potentially 2 to 3 security easily. So yeah, great cards. Besides the fact the artwork's amazing on them, we run just 6 level 7s. 6 level 6s. Level 7. Level 7 to me, I think, is the biggest flex spot. I've been talking to one of my teams, Jao, so a big shout out to him. And we've been trying to hash out just generally an idea of where we stand with the deck and what kind of things we'll be teched in. Now, I'm a firm believer that things like Crimson Blaze options are almost mandatory, but at the same time, in some matchups, they are absolutely dead. For instance, I played against Melga the other day. Crimson Blaze does nothing in that matchup, and it just left me with dead cards in hand or dead card in security. So, trying to tech in level 7s and options to make do with some of these other matchups, instead of just generally going for a couple of easier wins, not auto wins. So we have got one like Blitz. Fundamentally just a good card for this type of deck. I was trying to BT1 Omni here. Sadly didn't come up enough. If you didn't have the Greymon in stack, or you didn't have the buff and the security Metal Grey X, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to swing 1 check and bounce these things back to hand, which is nice to recycle these things like Blackwargreymon and Gaiomon, but at the same time, just wasn't enough momentum. We run a one-off Death X, good against Jesmon, good against Blue Flare, good against Dark Knight, Generally just an amazing card. Everybody asks, how did this never get hit or restricted in some form or fashion? I mean, I don't even think restricting is going to be that much of a big deal, because people just throw it in as a one-off for the sake of it. Even if it's off colour, it's just like, yeah, okay, throw this in, it's generically good. So yeah, that card puts in work. And then we run a one-off ex-ante. So we originally had the old ex-ante, just not attacks in that, which is great against Grandis, and it's good against Melga. But outside of that, it was always just a dead card in hand. This one can be a nice game finisher. So they've got one security left, you swing in security, you go up into this, and you're able just to check the security, trash it, and go for game. As well as the bottom deck stuff as well, which gets around a lot of the undeletion things, which is pretty big. To go along with this, one of our options, we do tech in a one of ex-ante option. Now, in this deck, I don't feel there's many places in which it's relevant for you to go on swing, just evo up. It is literally for this. But you can obviously go into, it's like black or grey, stick this underneath, swing, go up into this. Or you can, if you've got the setup for it, you just put this underneath, you go into the blitz, you swing, and then you go up into this, and it costs next to nothing basically. But you know, the whole when did you evolve thing is that, and the fact is, this also recycles your stuff, because it is when did you evolve attacking. If you play an ex-antibody or level 6 card from your this Digimon Distribution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, reveal all your opponent's security cards and trash one of them. Place the rest in your opponent's security stand face down. Then your opponent shuffles. So I can recycle these things, which is pretty big, because we do want to see more of these again. Obviously, they're going to the bottom, but we cycle in this deck a lot to be able to make use of that. So 3 level 7s. As I said, we run a one-off there. We run 2 memory boost. I don't think we're in a position this meta to max out on these as much as we did beforehand, and my only reason for that is the amount of poke damage that we take on a repetitive basis. So Cross Hearts, Blue Flare, D-Brigade, Dark Knight, just anything that's just throwing bodies willy-nilly without any cost or effect. It's just like, yeah, go for it. We're just going to keep throwing things at you and we'll just chip. So I don't feel like you have enough time to set up like 2 or 3 of these for some big turn. That's why we have some other techs in here. But if you hit one of these get hit in security, it can massively change your turn. I had one person hit Cool Boy in this in security, and my turn was pretty nuts, to be honest. I'd gone from like a Gaiomon up into a Gaiomon whilst retaining turn. But yeah, no, it still comes in handy though. The other thing is we run 2 win rates. Now I just want to say first and foremost, this is not the tech that I thought up, or I'd love to take credit for it as a Blackwargreymon main, but this was, I think they went to London Region, it's got top 8. I can't remember the name for the life of me, so if they knew who they are, big shout out to them, because this tech itself is absolutely amazing. The amount of value you get by eliminating that 4 cost Evo on the Metal Grey down to a 2 cost. This is basically a Deltamon on steroids for the deck. So it's a really strong card. So that's the options. As I say, there's no Crimson Blaze there. I'm realistically trying to find space for it, or I'm just going to leave it out. We run 4 Cool Boy. This card's stupid. There's just no other way to say it. This deck's not even a full ex-ante deck, so it's not like Alpha One, whereas I get non-stop hits from it. This can whiff quite easily, because I'll be reveal things like Cool Boy, and I'll go ex-ante reveal things like Cool Boy, and this reveal things that aren't ex-ante, and they work against each sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't matter, because if you see enough pieces, if you see the ideal one, Snarl, which is literally Argo into Argo X, your value is stupid. You know, you've just cycled more than enough cards and then throw down a Cool Boy past turn or whatnot. It's just ridiculous. And then we do run 2 tie. Now, I don't know how relevant things like Yellow Hybrid are going to be at this point, or Securing Channel with the Venus Mon and that. If they do pick up, I would swap these out. But at the moment, because I haven't come across much of it, I'm just going to run with these just to try and take out these games as quick as possible. but my choice, if I was going to change it out, if that becomes a thing, is probably the Marcus, just to gain an additional memory back, because those kind of things, it can change up the plays in this deck. So this could be for my Marcus, or if you feel like you're struggling with the DP, just go with a hero. But that is the deck overall. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you've had any testing yourself, if you play the deck or whatnot, I'm always interested to see what people's views are. And if you do like the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when this content goes live for you. And overall, thanks for tuning into Gordo's Games. Thanks for the support for everybody. We are so close to our 400 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. So let's reach that milestone. Thanks for tuning in.